my talk today is called Abundance Equals Change. Because of all the change in my life, the grief, the switching, the real drama that sometimes can bring, the grief, the sorrow, the loss, I've also had to step into that in those moments, there's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity to see it another way and to experience something bigger and greater. So what I wanted to talk to us about today was that we all fall down and we all get up and we all experience loss and change, and we all have the opportunity to see it, respond to it, acknowledge it, the sorrow, the pain, the grief, and to grow, to transform into something else. Yesterday, Saturday, we watched a family say goodbye to their matriarch and watched all the family step up to be the matriarchs, the patriarchs, the leaders of the next generation. And that circle of life continues. So while it isn't always fun and certainly isn't always wanted, change is the only constant in life. And how we embrace that and how we move through it is incredibly important. So I picked a really fun song to change the mood here because I have little kids and they like watching these movies and they like watching these shows. And it reminds me of the joy that even in sorrow, even in grief, we can celebrate. So, Marcus.
Another fight, lost to myself, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down, always hitting the ground, but I always get up and see what's next. Now listen, birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. And nobody learns without getting it wrong. Try everything I want to try, even though I can fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in, till I reach the end, then I'll start again. I won't leave, I want to try everything I want to try, even though I can fail. Try everything. Look how far you've come. You filled your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. No need to run so fast. Sometimes we come last, but we did our best. I won't give up. I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I want to try everything. I want to try even though I could fail. Come on, y'all. I won't give up. Till I reach the end. I want to start again. I won't leave. I want to try. try even though I could fail. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try everything. Yeah, yeah. Try everything. Try everything.
Hey! Marcus Beam! And our Sounds of Unity. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to change the energy because it just is part of the natural cycle of life. I mean, I grew up in New Orleans, right? And it explains a lot because we celebrated like this at funerals, right? And we partied, and we had food, and we shared. And there's lots of different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong. But there's something about that cultural phenomenon that is New Orleans, Louisiana, that shaped me and made me understand the joy of celebration in every situation. No matter what's going on, there's something of abundance to be celebrated. The abundance of love that the situation holds, that the family holds, that the possibility holds. And I know, if you're anything like me, that life has been constantly changing for the last couple of years. And the experiences we have are constantly shifting. So every moment is a possibility to stop fighting what is and celebrating what could be. Because when we resist reality, we lose. Only 100% of the time. Right? But we keep, as in our humanness, keep trying to make sense of our wanting to cling to something that is already left, right? And is already gone. And so we have this dance we do emotionally and spiritually around reality that sometimes, as the poem Elizabeth read earlier says, we take leave of our senses and enter this cold, dark cave, as typified by a butterfly in a cocoon. And we go into that goo, to that cold, dark cave, to be transformed. And part of the journey of the butterfly is that it must break out. And it must use its wings to break out of its chrysalis and come out the other side. Come out from being a caterpillar to being a beautiful butterfly. And there's studies that have shown that if you assist the butterfly and break open the chrysalis or cut it open, that the butterfly can't survive because its wings aren't strong enough for it to live and thrive. The struggle that we go through is part of the abundance. It's part of building the muscle for our own joyous and abundant lives. So I have been struggling, fighting, bargaining with myself all week to incorporate all the grief I'm feeling and to possibly even see the good that exists within it, the blessings that there are. And one of the ways that I do that is commitment. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago as I started this series. Having a North Star, having a goal in mind, having something that is more important than my personal story is so important for how I move through this. And I recommend that all of us, really daily, weekly, and definitely every year, recommit and re-examine what our goals are for this life. Because if you're here, not just physically here in the room or online, but if you're here on the planet, you're not done. You're not done contributing, you're not done participating, you're not done changing the world. We are here in these human bodies having this human experience so that we can learn and that we can make a difference. Your loving, your participation, your words can be the catalyst for someone else's life. So when you show up on Sunday, you think you're showing up for you, but you could be showing up for the person sitting next to you who needs your presence, your words, your kindness. You could be showing up for the person online who needs to know that this is truly a place they can come and be safe. If you can commit to something larger than yourself, something larger than your own personal experience, but to shifting the world one relationship at a time, all bets are off. But if we sit on the sidelines, waiting, withholding, judging, condemning, there's no possibility of that change arriving for us. We will just get more of what we've been experiencing. So I ask you, and I implore you, to spend time in your meditation, in your prayer, in your journaling, whatever your practice is, on your hikes, on the treadmill, to find out what it is you want to commit to as we come to the end of this year and into the next. What is it that you value and you want to put forth for all of us to see, know, and experience? Because if not today, when? When are we waiting to make this decision? When do we think it'll be time for us to show up? I think it's today. I think it has to be now. And in that, we get to level up. One of the gifts that Karen Ray, our dear friend who just made her transition, gifted me was a week, 9 days actually, studying with Byron Katie at the School for the Work. So I sat with a fellow group of 300 students and Byron Katie, all studying the work of Byron Katie. And it is all about how we shift our own belief in our victimhood, in our level of consciousness, to see the possibility in the situation, to see the opening, to stop fighting with reality. And as I talked about leveling up in a talk a couple weeks ago, it was about not playing the victim any longer, moving from victim consciousness to victor consciousness, into vessel consciousness, into verity consciousness. So let me give you a little bit of an overview of those levels of consciousness. Victim is, it's always happening to me. They said that to me. My boss fired me. They didn't care for me. And when we are in victim consciousness, we get sympathy and we get attention, but we make ourselves powerless. And it's a hypnotic pattern. We can see it easier in others. We all have friends who tell you how the world's against them, right? And we don't hear it in our own language as easily. But listen to the next person who tells you, I can't afford that. It's like, oh, okay. How about instead, I choose not to spend my money that way, right? Because I can't afford that is a consciousness that I don't have enough. Whereas if you shift it to understanding, I'm placing my resources on other things right now. It is a choice and an empowerment that moves you into victor consciousness, understanding that whatever the amount of resources that may be apparent to you at the moment, you can leverage them for something greater and for something truly meaningful for yourself. And victor consciousness is prevalent in Unity because it's the I am consciousness. I am a divine child of God. I am strong. and powerful. I am whole and healthy, and I can overcome anything that is in front of me. That consciousness, that superwoman, superman, Wakanda consciousness, right, can take us very far in life. But there's also a shift into vessel consciousness where we get to use, as one of my classmates pointed out to me recently, the Force. If you remember from the Star Wars movies, yeah, the Force is in everything around us. And when we use the Force, when we use the divine power in inanimate objects, in other people, in the whole planet and the universe itself, we are aligned with something greater than our own muscle, our own affirmation. So vessel consciousness is about using the Force. May the Force be with you. You might as well say, right? May God be with you. But it has more power for us culturally when we say the Force, because we understand it as this inanimate power. When we say God, sometimes we think of that old man in the sky, that, the Michelangelo God, or whatever God you grew up with as a child or came to understand as an adult. But that's not what we mean when we say God. We mean the Force, literally, the power that pervades everything, and that is here for us to use to manifest our life. And then finally, verity consciousness is the consciousness that knows I am one with that energy. That's Yoda, right? That's Yoda, doesn't think he's all that, but knows how to use all that. Now, we may be baby Yodas, right? But let's embrace our baby Yoda, right? And go into verity consciousness. Very odd that he's green as well, right? So Lucasfilms really knew what they were doing there. And all of a sudden, we can shift. So when we level up, when we commit and level up to seeing it and knowing it differently, there's the possibility of change and growth and to experience abundance, to experience something different. So we have to surrender. If you remember this talk, we really do have all that power within us. And we spend so much energy fighting what is, when we could surrender to the flow of life and click our heels and go home to the center of the reality of who we are. How much time do we spend frustrated, angry, adrift, lonely, depressed, verklempt? Right? I love those Yiddish words. Right? Because we don't remember the truth that we have the power within us. If we surrender to what is, we can move through it and experience the joy, the bliss, the abundance on the other side. Eckhart Tolle said it this way in New Heaven, New Earth, his book, New Earth. He said, if you're stuck in the mud, the only way out is to admit you're stuck in the mud. Standing there in the mud isn't going to get you out. And my favorite experience of that is a joke, as a minister's joke, because here you get it, you get the minister's joke today. Is there 3 people who find themselves in hell, that literal hell we don't believe in, but for the joke, they're in hell. It's a rabbi, a priest, and a unity minister are in hell. And the rabbi is over in the corner there saying, "Oy vey, I don't know what I did wrong. God, this is such torture. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I did." And the priest is over in the other corner going, "Oh my God, I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all of my sins because of thy just punishment." Right? And the unity minister is back in the other corner going, "It's not hot and I'm not here. It's not hot and I'm not here." Right? Trying to use our affirmations to deny reality doesn't help, folks. We need to admit we're in the mud. And then we can start to work our way out of it. Empower ourselves to see it, know it, and experiencing it differently. And one of my favorite quotes comes out of this, is right doors open easily, right? John Randolph Price. How many time do we spend trying to knock down doors that don't want to open for us? When the universe has unlimited ways of fulfilling our dreams, our goals, our desires. But we say, no, it has to be that one door. It needs to open, right? That's the one. I'll be happy when, I'll be satisfied when, I'll be able to do all those things when. There is no when, it's now. It's absolutely now when we surrender to what is and use it to launch us to the next step. And in that, we have to forgive. We have to forgive others for everything they've done. We have to forgive them finally for everything we've held them account to. We have to forgive them for what they did that disappointed us. Then we have to forgive ourselves for even thinking that they could be something other than they weren't. Can we be something that we're not? But we hold other people to that standard. So we have to forgive finally so that we can be free. We have to forgive finally so that we can experience the good of life. We have to forgive finally for good. Not going back to it, not revisiting the drama and the trauma. That's why we sang I Release today. We have to forgive so that we can set ourselves free. We have to forgive so that we're not tied to an incomplete and unsatisfying past. Holding on to a resentment is wishing for a different past. And the only way to actually have a different past is to move forward with love. Holding resentment won't make the past better. Loving today will. Loving today and seeing it differently today changes the past. It's true, right? Loving today changes the past because it changes who? Us. We're the ones carrying the past forward. So when we love today, we literally change the past. But if you won't love, you get to keep what you don't like. Only taken me all these decades to figure that one out. And now I get to practice it. We get to practice it, right? And then the next step, the last step that I want to talk to us about today is owning our spiritual gifts. You know, there's a lot of releasing and forgiving of what we didn't do right. But taking our positive inventory, as we talked about last week, is so important. Knowing what we bring to the table, knowing our true gifts, is instrumental in us being able to transform the world, right? If I did not step up and do the uncomfortable things, I wouldn't be able to serve. So I know many of you always try to step through those difficult feelings, those things that you don't want to do. But I want to explain, if I can, put words around it, how when we do, we actually liberate the whole world. I said to several people yesterday morning as I was preparing for the memorial service, I don't want to be here. And that was absolutely true. I didn't want to go through it. I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to be the minister for that amount of public grieving. But I was willing to. I was willing to use my skills, to use my abilities, and to use my talents to facilitate grief and healing for other people. And because I was willing, I was changed. Yeah, I left exhausted. Yes, I had to take a nap after it. Yes, I did self-care. But what we do when we step out of our comfort zones and help others just by showing up, like everyone in the room and in the Zoom room and online here right now are showing up for other people. And when we do that, when we build community like that, and we create public spaces for our gifts to be shared, we're healed a little bit more. We're healed that much more so that we can experience something else. So that we can go to the party after the funeral and dance and laugh and tell more stories. Then we can move on with our lives, bringing those people, those situations with us. And it's not all about transitions, although that's what I'm in this week. Also, there's some things in my life that I've lost that I'm still grieving that have nothing to do with other people, that have to do with my persona and my understanding of who I am. And to really shift, I've got to let them go. To be bigger than I am today, I have to acknowledge, I got attached to that role, that title, that experience, that adulation, that public facade, and own that. Our egos are necessary to live here on the planet. They are, absolutely. But what I'm talking about isn't ego-driven and isn't ego-attached. What I'm talking about us doing is owning our spiritual gifts that are freely given without expectation of return. And so there's this beautiful dance we get to do. We get to be spiritual beings with all these amazing spiritual gifts in these human bodies. And we get to see where one of them disappears or something shifts in our lives and see where we've gotten attached to the way things have been. Spiritual bypassing is a term that I love, and I've been dancing with it recently too. It means pretending to be more spiritually advanced than you are. And us Unity people use it often like to. It's all good. It's all good. That's right. I know God, something has something great for me. I can't wait to see what shows up. When inside we're crying, right? If we're here in this human body and this human experience, our job is to honor that human experience, is to give it the time and the space it needs so that our spiritual gifts can arrive uncluttered by ego and expectation. Our spiritual gifts can be given freely. Our spiritual gifts can be given without attachment. Because if gift comes with attachment, they're not really great gifts, are they? I'll do this for you if you do this for me. The quid pro quo of spiritual giving is less than fulfilling. Let's just put it that way. To receive or to give. Right? So I invite us now to experience the abundance of the butterfly. Whatever it is we need to release and let go on this journey, whatever persons or situations we're grieving, to feel them, to not squelch it, to feel them so that we can, like the butterfly, break out of the chrysalis, transform in the goo, and fly, and fly.